Recently, I saw a clip of an Arizona state senator arguing for uranium mining in her state in part because Earth is 6,000 years old. Using radioactive elements like the very uranium she was talking about, we know that Earth is 4.5 billion years old. It's staggering that we have such ignorance in the year 2012. It does raise the point about the relationship between science and truth. Let's examine the philosophical progression of how people collect information. 4 basic methods of the human mind control how we determine the truth. From science's point of view, let's go from the worst to the best. Intuition is highly subjective and preferred by theologians. It relies on guesswork, dreams, imagination, inspiration, revelations, and visions, and may have no basis whatsoever in reality. Ancient philosophers considered intuition self-evident unless they were faced with opposing viewpoints. In this case, they simply declared the opposition false, heretical, demented, or blasphemous. If I started believing that everything in my dreams was true, well, let's just say it would be a lot more interesting world than it really is. Authoritarian methods are derived from expert testimony from parents, siblings, relatives, friends, neighbors, teachers, clergy, politicians, and celebrities. This kind of truth is reinforced by sheer repetition. It becomes the knowledge we grow up with and sometimes so-called common sense. Why should we believe it? Because this guy said it. Rational methods use formal deductions based on logical constructs and mathematical procedures. These involve things like probability, causal interpolations, analogies, semantics, statistics, and syllogisms. Although mathematical methods of determining the truth are far more reliable than dreams or what some guy happens to tell you, they still have their limitations. French philosopher and mathematician René Descartes claimed the straight line, the triangle, and the square were rational ideas imparted by God to humans at birth. 250 years later, however, the British philosopher and mathematician Bertrand Russell said that logic, geometry, and mathematics are subjects in which we do not quite know what we're talking about, nor whether what we're saying is true. Empirical methods have always been favored by scientists. These methods use careful observations and experiments to document the truth in a repeatable way by uncoerced investigators. Coincidental observations by a wide variety of observers over a wide variety of times and circumstances add up to empirical proof. When the force of gravity has been measured 100 million times by hundreds of thousands of people over the past several centuries and they all get the same answer, it gives you pretty good confidence in the truth. The English philosopher John Locke wrote that knowledge is best acquired by exposure to a cumulative series of observations, which are a posteriori, deductive experiences. There's nothing in the intellect that first doesn't filter through the senses. The intellect then assembles all the observed information into an overall picture of the truth as we can best know it. The usual criticism of empirical methods is that coincidental observation does not lead immediately to firm, dependable conclusions. But that's exactly what makes it strong and reliable. The truth as we best know it is always continuously being altered or improved upon on smaller and smaller scales by later discoveries and observations. Scientific knowledge is in a state of continual refinement. Most people think that science's empirical work comes from a series of sudden, serendipitous discoveries, so-called eureka moments, like a light bulb flashing on. In fact, scientific research proceeds slowly. It's a great grinding process of the slow accumulation of a vast body of knowledge. Newly devised experiments and additional observations need to be checked and analyzed and added carefully to the great body of scientific work. So be patient with science and trust it to provide the best truth of the cosmos around you. Save your dreams for fun and fantasy or simply sorting out your mind's flurry of thoughts. If that guy tells you something is so because he says it's so, have the independent thought to challenge him or at least do your own thinking to see if you should agree. Save your reliance on Euclidean geometry and long trees of theoretical logic. Get the truth at the source where humans have found it to be the best and most reliable way for half a millennium. Observational science.